On Goro Kiryuin's 60th birthday celebration, the guests were in awe over the stunning beauty that was Reiko Hosho, the heiress of the family running the global enterprise, the Hosho Group. Greeting Goro, she was here on behalf of her father today. With Goro having to take off, his daughter Ayaka and her friends Kaori and Hinako greeted her next. Reiko got so excited, she stumbled over, causing Ayaka to make fun of her. She got up quick, trying to come up with an excuse, when a mysterious man's voice came up with one for her, saying, "Merely picking up an object off of the ground, right?" And when she looked to find him, he was nowhere to be seen. The lights dimmed, and a projector played a video to reflect on Goro's life thus far. However, what came on were the girls' group photo from their sports league. Ayaka wondered if her father sent in the wrong photos. Then, when it changed to a photo featuring Kazuya Teshirogi and Mai, the presenter shut things off quickly, and the friends noted seeing pictures of Mai dampened the mood of the room. Kazuya came to greet them, but the girls were not happy, given he had ditched Mai for an arranged bride. They shamed him for letting his family control him. He simply responded that as the Teshirogi family heir, he'd inherit this hotel someday. He couldn't marry purely out of love. He assumed, out of all people, that Ayaka and Reiko would understand, but they denied any possibility of that. After he left, Hinako teared up and ran off. Ayaka expressed her sympathy. Something that Reiko had never noticed was that Hinako was also in love with Kazuya, and both Hinako and Mai were attached to him at the hip. Kazuya's cousin, Mizuho, came by, and Ayaka left, not wanting to even see her. Mizuho began asking Reiko about a rumor, one where Mai had nearly overdosed on drugs that helped her sleep. Kazuya didn't know about this, and the girls hadn't told him. A good call, because he probably wouldn't be at this event now if he knew. As Reiko took her drink, finding her glass empty, she appreciated the quick and kind butler who assisted her with more drinks. With the occasion proceeding, Inspector Kazamatsuri rang, speeding in his vehicle as he told Reiko there was trouble at Grand Hotel Teshirogi. He had a whole police squad behind him. Getting ready to work, Kaori asked Reiko about her getup, and she freaked out. She couldn't blow her cover in front of Inspector Kaza. The friends remembered Reiko had been hiding her identity from her co-workers the entire time, because she didn't want special treatment for being the Hosho Group heiress. Only the higher-ups knew who she was. Luckily for her, the butler brought her a change of clothes right away, and after changing, she became Detective Reiko Hosho. Security tried to stop her from proceeding, but a simple flash of her badge gave her authority. Arriving at the scene of the crime, she was horrified. Mizuho was lying on the floor with a bloodied head. The friends were horrified, and with Kazuya trying to proceed, Reiko told everyone not to move. This area was to be closed off for investigation. Barely conscious, Mizuho uttered it was a young woman who slammed her. She felt like she'd seen this woman before, but was unsure of where. This woman had a green gem on her necklace. After the ambulance took Mizuho away, Inspector Kaza from the Kunitachi police made his dramatic entrance, teeth shining and all, but Reiko was getting annoyed by him. She had gotten here so fast, he wondered if she was attending the party. She became frantic, assuring him there was no way a measly detective was some kind of rich girl. He was just joking though, but a party for Goro, top tycoon of the economic world? Kaza couldn't fathom why he wasn't invited. After all, his family ran Kazamatsuri Motors. The other partygoers then began to point out Kaza's family vehicle models having awful gas mileage, no substance, and driving crappily. So, he turned things back to the investigation. Victim? Mizuho Teshirogi. The Teshirogi family owned the hotel. The victim claimed she was attacked by a young woman wearing a red dress with a green gem on her necklace. The weapon was likely this potted plant. The man to first discover her was Yuji Mayama. He was an acquaintance of Mizuho from work. Reiko thought something was fishy, but Kaza reminded her not to be so quick to suspect the first discoverer. He did tease the idea of Yuji and Mizuho having a secret relationship though. They then rounded up all the suspects, women in red dresses. Their friends were annoyed, but Reiko needed them to humor Kaza. He poked at the girls for being overdressed, and they tried to clap back, so he got arrogant with his own fashion. He then had them give their backgrounds. First was Ayaka Kiryuin, unemployed. She was of course attending being the birthday boy's daughter. Kaori Miyamoto, employed. Ayaka invited her. Hinako Mori, an office worker, invited by Ayaka as well. Then lastly, Chiaki Nagase. She helped with her father's business, and a friend invited her here. Kaza brought up the green necklace with the red dress, and two of them got defensive. This was all Kaza needed to pinpoint Chiaki, the one girl Mizuho probably wouldn't recognize, since they didn't go to school together. Kazuya barged in and interjected. He claimed there was no way Chiaki could be the perpetrator. She was his fiancée. The girls gasped. Chiaki then mentioned he was still in love with his ex, and asked if he was apprehensive about marrying strictly for family. However, he turned, telling her directly he made up his mind to spend his life with her. He seriously wanted to marry her, but Kaza had to cut the mushiness short. A mere love confession wouldn't prove she didn't attack the victim. However, Kazuya objected with proof. The three of them took a pleasant photo together, meaning Mizuho knew exactly who Chiaki was. Now that her alibi was clear, Kazuya hit a swing and a miss. The event host then shouted at Kazuya to wrap things up. They had an event to host at 5, and all the rooms were booked. It was 4:30, so they had to catch the culprit within 30 minutes. Kaza tried to close out the perpetrator as Yuji, and so they brought him in. He was Mizuho's legal advisor. He couldn't tell them outright initially since he was bound under confidentiality agreements. He presented the text between her and Mizuho, since they were supposed to meet on the rooftop. But before that, something happened. He bumped into Ayaka and alerted the staff about a vase he spilled, causing him to be late for their meeting. After that, he headed to the roof, and that's where he found Mizuho unconscious. Another strikeout from Kaza. Well, it's not like Yuji was wearing a red dress anyway. So, he next tried Ayaka, pointing out that she had some kind of vendetta against Mizuho. However, Reiko reasoned that wasn't enough. Only 20 minutes left. The butler, Kageyama, appeared, saying this case was not so challenging. Not only had he solved the case, he noticed another alarming truth. He kept it quiet, asking if Reiko was unable to solve this simple mystery herself. She was shocked, hearing him call her some kind of moron. She got irritated, telling him he would surely be fired for his insults. However, he gracefully responded that as of today, he'd been assigned as her attendant. She didn't understand, nor did she have time. She was willing to accept his help though, and so, he agreed to seize the culprit. But first, he needed her to perform a public stunt in front of everyone. Reiko and Kageyama came back into the room, with her announcing she was ready to reveal who the culprit was. She suddenly tripped, and this gave the butler the time to close the curtains. And from there, Reiko flashed her phone flashlight at Hinako. Kage explained earlier that her gemstone was alexandrite. It appeared green under white, fluorescent light, or bright sunlight. However, under orange light from a bulb or sunset, the gem assumed a reddish hue. With Hinako being caught, Kaza chased after her. The next issue to tackle though was the fact that Mizuho referred to her attacker as a stranger. Kage had Kaori give her opinion, and things started to click. Mizuho had a different hairstyle, and she wasn't wearing glasses anymore. Kaori could hardly recognize her. And back when her bloodied body was discovered, that was the first time Hinako recognized her as well. She likely attacked Mizuho, thinking she was Kazuya's girlfriend. And despite Mizuho referring to Hinako as a stranger, she still uttered, "I've seen her somewhere before." Kage picked up on the gems Hinako and Mai wore back in the college photo. It probably had special meaning, since alexandrite symbolized secret love. And that secret love for Hinako might actually have been Mai. Hinako wept, explaining her love for Mai. Mai was a big fan of Hinako's jewelry design. She was the first person to ever support Hinako. Hinako felt terrible, thinking Mizuho would never forgive her. The hotel manager was sweating bullets, having to explain Mizuho was engaged with Ayaka's father. That was why Ayaka hated her. Meanwhile, Reiko was trying to make her escape from Kaza, who was trying to drive her back to her place. Luckily, Kage came to save her, arriving in her family's limousine. Driving back, Reiko tried to figure out more about Kage, but he didn't detail his history much, other than when he was growing up, he wanted to play baseball or be a detective. As a child, Reiko was in awe, with her father explaining the cruise ship she saw was yet another Hosho Group asset. It would also be hers someday. Finance, intelligence, real estate, broadcasting, entertainment. Hosho Group owned it all. Well, only if she wanted it. She woke up to a sudden phone call from Kaza. There was a murder case and she had to be there pronto. So in her limo, Kage drove her to the scene, full speed ahead. The victim was Kunoe Kodama, the head of the household and CEO of Kodama Realty. She was the real estate queen of Kunitachi, killed by a big whack to the back of her head. Reiko spotted blood in the vicinity of Kunoe's right index finger, meaning there was likely a dying message that Kaza was eager to point out. The victim mustered every drop of her remaining energy to leave a message, for the sake of evidence. But the murderer spotted it and wiped it away. They sent the bloody towel to forensics, believing that would lead them to their culprit. The family had heard glass break last night and rushed to find a usually vacant room with now a broken window and bloody trophy on the floor. Obviously, that was the murder weapon. The two people that weren't with them during the incident was Kenjiro's daughter, Satomi, who was fortunately unharmed. But unfortunately, Kazuo's mother was already dead at that point. It was around 11 p.m. Reiko and Kaza grouped together, putting what they suspected had happened in order. Just before 11, the murderer whacked Kanoe with the trophy, ran outside, and hurled the murder weapon into this room on the second floor. There were no footprints because of the rain, and the hurling of the trophy was likely to fabricate an alibi and create a false timeline of the crime. They turned back to question Kazuo, learning even though the estate was protected by a security system, the alarm hadn't sounded. Everyone was gathered in the living room, given they were the only suspects. At 11 p.m., Kazuo and Kenjiro were drinking in the drawing room. Kazuo was the victim's eldest son, and next in line to be CEO of Kodama Realty. Kenjiro was Kanoe's nephew, and manager of Kodama Realty's Kansai branch. He came with his daughter, Satomi, who had been sleeping at the time of the incident. Goro, Kanoe's second son in his third year of university, was only playing games at the time. Then, Akiko, the eldest daughter and middle of 3 children, was upset because she was supposed to be at a host club tonight. Lastly, there was Kanoe's secretary and driver, Toshiaki Maeda, who was servicing a car in the annex garage. Kaza was freaking out, having no idea who to investigate. It had to be someone who could throw a bronze trophy on the second floor window. Goro tried pinning it on Akiko, since she was athletic and did shot put, but she tossed it back, saying Goro played baseball as a pitcher. Hearing this, Kaza went into a rant about how he was also an ace pitcher back in the day. Goro had played in the championships, but not since breaking his shoulder. Even though he still had the skill to throw the trophy to the second floor window, he claimed he wouldn't do something so flashy, and that the murder was probably trying to frame him. Kazuo then pointed out how Goro was easy to scapegoat. He was shady, having gotten busted for MLM scams. Their mother had gotten furious over that. But Kazuo wasn't exactly safe here. Kanoe was furious at him during dinner due to his blunders, and told him she would just pass on her CEO role to someone else. He stabbed his food, uttering, "I'll kill her," but now he was saying he didn't mean it. Kazuo wasn't the only one who benefited from his mother's death though. With her gone, Kenjiro could stop embezzling funds. They all could benefit from inheritance money, except for Toshiaki, being just an assistant and all. During more questioning, Satomi suddenly got up and fainted with Reiko to catch her, all while forensics found a key and a pot in the room where Kanoe was murdered. Who killed Kanoe? Find out the next time I cover by subscribing to my channel. For now though, watch this next video. It's me, ComfyTea. I'll see you all in the next one.